Let us look at the directory structure in detail. The first file we'll look at is the file called as the roots.rb. The roots.rb file looks something like this. Uh, so what it really means that if a user enters this URL localhost 3000 slash pages slash home, it gets directed to roots.rb and exactly to this line, get pages slash home. What does get pages slash home really mean? For that we need to look into another file called pages underscore controller.rb, which was generated by the command we entered in the last slide. So what does the pages underscore controller file look like? It looks like this. It is basically a class called pages controller, which is inherited from another superclass called as application controller. What it basically means that the pages controller has inherited some functionalities from application controller. As you see, we see two methods here, home and about. The get pages slash home gets redirected to this method def home. Now normally this is an empty method, but as I just mentioned, it has inherited some functionality from the superclass application controller, and because of that functionality this method automatically searches for a file called home.html. Look at pages slash home here, the method home and home.html.erb. It's a view file or the embedded Ruby file, and the contents of it looks like this. So when a user actually goes to the URL localhost 3000 slash pages slash home, this is what he actually sees. Pages slash home, and a small find me in app slash views slash pages slash home.html.erb. And if you look at the directory structure closely, that is where you have the file home.html.erb. Now when a user enters localhost 3000 slash pages slash home, it first goes to roots.rb, then goes to pages underscore controller.rb, and then comes to home.html.erb. So let's understand this path a little better using the model view controller. This MVC framework is the basis of Ruby on Rails applications that we will build. But let us leave the model for now. Let us understand the view and the controller. Look at this diagram very closely. The user enters the URL slash pages slash home. We're leaving the localhost 3000 for now. So what happens is that it gets redirected to the file called as router.rb. This is the router because it says what pages slash home has to do, what that action has to do. And from router.rb it gets redirected to the controller. And in the controller you have the method home, which is empty. This controller decides which particular file to fetch or which particular view to fetch. So it will go to the view home.html.erb and it fetches that, and further it sends the same file to the browser. So simply this view controller will become a basis of this app that we build in module 1, and hence it becomes very important to really understand that. To summarize, from the browser you go to roots.rb, from there to the controller, which in this case is pages controller.rb, and from where to the view, which is home.html.erb, and that view gets rendered onto the browser.